Coming up on this week's episode of Capital City Sports, football finishes SEC play.
Women's soccer hosts a first-round playoff game.
And the guys in the boardroom preview the Citadel game.
This is Capital City Sports.
Welcome to this week's episode of Capital City Sports. I'm Tawny Moreau.
And I'm Josh Butler. The Gamecocks hosted Florida this weekend in football and look to stay perfect in the SEC East.
Let's see how the Gamecocks did.
Connor Shaw and the Gamecocks took on Florida at Williams-Brice Stadium on Saturday. Antonio Allen was back in the lineup after missing last week's Arkansas game. Even the baseball team was on hand, celebrating back-to-back national championships. Just the second play from scrimmage for the Gators, John Brantley steps back and is hit from behind by Stephon Gilmore and loses the football. Gamecocks would take over on the fumble recovery. But just a few plays later, the ball changes hands again as Connor Shaw is picked off by Deontay Saunders and Florida gets it right back. Then John Brantley hands the ball off to Chris Rainey, who takes care of the rest, breaking off a big run and setting up a first and goal. But South Carolina's defense would stand tall, stopping Jeff Demps on first down. Then Demps gets the ball again on second down and again is stopped. Then, on third down, Brantley completes the pass to Deontay Thomas, but he's brought down short of the goal line and USC holds Florida to a field goal. Gamecocks get the ball back and Connor Shaw took over, scrambling, finding ways to gain yardage, getting the first down here. And he was doing this all day. Shaw, looking to throw, can't find a man, so he tucks and runs 10 yards to the house, giving South Carolina the 7-3 advantage. Moments later, Brantley gives the ball to Demps, who fumbles as he's hit, and USC will eventually come up with possession, taking over with plenty of time left in the half to give the Gamecocks another chance to score. And that's exactly what they did. Brandon Wilds had 29 carries for 120 yards, including this run down inside the 10. And that set up this 1-yard touchdown run from Shaw, and South Carolina widens their lead 14-3. Second half now, Brantley fires this completion to A.C. Leonard, setting up a field goal for Florida, making the score 14-6. Later, Gators mounting a comeback on the shoulders of Chris Rainey. He had 132 yards on 17 carries, including this huge run all the way down inside the Gamecocks' 5-yard line. A few plays later, it's Jacoby Brissett scrambling his way across the plane for a 2-yard touchdown run. 2-point conversion no good, so the Gators remain down 2 as USC takes over. But then, it's Connor Shaw. He was 6 for 12 for 81 yards, over half of those coming on this dime to Ace Sanders, setting up a Gamecock field goal. And that was all the Carolina defense needed, taking down John Brantley again and again in the final minutes of the game, including this sack by Travian Robertson as time expired. Gamecocks take this one, 17-12. They go undefeated on the season against SEC East opponents. Reporting from Williams-Brice Stadium, I'm Pat Cloney, Capital City Sports.
The Gamecock offense struggled to get off the ground this week against Florida. To learn more, let's send it to Justin and Hunter in the boardroom.
Welcome to the boardroom. I'm Justin Stevens. Along beside me, Hunter Banks. And Hunter, USC has to rely on Kentucky. They did their job last week, beat Florida, but Georgia slammed Auburn.
We're not going to the SEC championship, people. I don't count on Kentucky to do anything. They will probably get beat 6 or something, maybe 7. I don't even know if they will score. They have that bad of an offense. It's not looking good for South Carolina's SEC championship hopes.
Yeah, South Carolina really struggled against Florida, and mainly one of the causes was the play calling.
Yeah, the play calling isn't what it has been in seasons past. We ran the ball way too much. We should have passed the ball. We only tried 12 passes. We only had 12 passing plays. 50% completion percentage for Connor Shaw. That's not that bad. But when Brandon Wilds has 29 rushes for 121 yards, and Connor Shaw has 16 rushes for 93 yards. You know that something's wrong with the play calling because Connor Shaw should not be having to run more than he's passing.
Yeah, like you said, he had 50% on the pass completions, but many of those passes were bubble screens off to the side, not really difficult passes.
He completed 2 passes each to Ace Sanders and Alshon Jeffrey, and congratulations to Alshon Jeffrey for breaking the record for most receiving yards in USC history. But Connor Shaw, I bashed him a little bit last week, but he had a pretty decent game this week. It's just he didn't have enough opportunities to pass the ball, and when he did, some of his receivers just weren't open.
Yeah, the best pass play Connor Shaw had all night was that it was actually a beautiful thrown ball to Ace Sanders down the sideline. That, I mean, right there, it shows glimpses of what could be a passing spread offense instead of a run spread offense.
And it's great to see a receiver who's not the tallest, but he's able to get the ball. He's a scrapper. I think Ace is a scrapper on the team. It was a beautiful catch, beautiful pass and a beautiful catch, nice over the shoulder catch. His technique was perfect. It was beautiful.
Yeah, it was. Ace Sanders is looking like a weapon like he did in the beginning of the season when Steven Garcia was getting the ball more often. And that does it for the A block in the boardroom. We'll be back to break down the defense after the break.
Coming up after the break, the guys in the boardroom break down the defense.
And men's basketball plays Western Carolina. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. The defense held its own against Florida this week.
To see how the Gamecocks held down that Gator offense, let's send it to Hunter and Justin in the boardroom.
Welcome back in the boardroom, and the Gamecock defense held their ground again. John Brantley, 21 pass attempts, only 13 completions, and really contained him. They had 3 sacks.
They did have 3 sacks. Stephon Gilmore, Traven Robinson, and Melvin Ingram both had all 3 had sacks, excuse me. Stephon, corner blitz, easy play calling. Good job by Ellis Johnson. Melvin and Travian, those 2 sacks, they just overpowered the offensive linemen that they were matched up against. It's good to see that we're able to get sacks, especially when we have a team like Citadel coming up next week who runs the ball a lot. Because if you can get through the offensive line to get a sack on the quarterback, that means you can get through the offensive line and stop the running back.
And one thing I noticed in the Florida game, the secondary really held the Florida wide receivers in front of them and prevented them from really big plays in the passing game.
Yes, they did, and that's also due to Antonio Alling being back. He wasn't available for the Arkansas game. He's back. He had 7 tackles. He played great. He's the leader of the defense. They had their leader back. DJ Swearinger, he had a little bruise, after the Arkansas game, but he played great. Led the team with 9 tackles. The secondary, we're not going to have to worry about them this week, but it's nice to know that if we did have to, they've proven against Florida and John Brantley that they're able to control a decent passing game.
Let's talk about one special thing, the special teams.
The special teams.
Tell me about that, Hunter.
Walker Inabit got a tackle in this game, and it makes my day to see a long snapper get a tackle, especially this kid, because he's a walk-on. It just brightens my day when a long snapper gets a tackle. I love it every time a long snapper gets a tackle.
Yeah, many of the walk-ons are just long snappers or kickers, and it's really good to see them going out
there.
Jay
Wooten's a walk-on.
Going out there and getting some playing time and actually, doing something on the playing field.
Doing something, not just, here's the ball.
Yeah.
Actually getting a tackle. Statistic check.
That does it for defense in the boardroom. We'll be back to break down the Citadel game after the break.
men's basketball is looking to start its season off on the right track with a win against Western Carolina. Chuck Ringwalt was there, and he has your highlights.
Bringing you to the Colonial Life Arena for the season opener, we have your Carolina Gamecocks taking on the Catamounts of Western Carolina. After a classical rendition of the Star-Spangled Banner on this Veterans Day, the Gamecocks take an early lead, with junior Lakeem Jackson having the first bucket of the night. Unable to connect, the Catamounts fall to shooting just over 35% from the floor in the first 20 minutes of play. Boxing out and dominating in the paint, the Gamecocks will soon capitalize on Western Carolina's missed opportunities. Sophomore Eric Smith takes it in for the short jumper, keeping the pace of the game steady at 5-5. Now attempting to hang tough, the Catamounts push up the floor, only to be stopped by big men Geathers and Slauson. Showing solid pressure with the double team, Jackson comes up big again with this steal, dishing it off to guard Brenton Williams for the easy layup. Now check this out. Williams and Smith turn up the heat on the Catamounts, taking the ball from Trey Sumler for an easy 2. Next play, Gamecocks do it again. This time it's Brian Richardson who comes up out of nowhere intercepting this pass. Williams would score on this one. He'd go on to finish with 13. Now failing to rebound, Western Carolina allows the Gamecocks to keep control. The Gamecocks reset the play, eventually getting the ball to a posted-up Geathers for this smooth finish. Giving these ladies something to cheer about, the Gamecocks go into the second half up by 10. With a career-high 9 points, Smith drives this one all the way. That's not all. Showing a little magic, Smith has this no-looker to Slauson, who ends it with the slam jam. Play of the game right here. Reading it perfectly, Williams steals this pass, taking it home. Whew, that's pretty. Commanding this one, Gamecocks win 75-50.
Coming up after the break, the guys in the boardroom preview the Citadel game.
And women's soccer takes on Texas in the NCAA playoffs. Stay with us. Welcome back. The Gamecock football team hasn't played the Citadel since 1990 in a game that many fans want to forget.
That's right, Josh. The Gamecocks lost to the Citadel 38-35 after quarterback Jeff Douglas scored on the 1-yard line with 22 seconds left.
To see how the Gamecocks can avoid the upset this weekend, let's send it to the guys in the boardroom.
Welcome back in the boardroom. Now the Gamecocks don't really have to worry much about this week, even though the last time we did play them we lost.
Yeah.
And Gamecock fans are going to be tuning in to the Kentucky-Georgia game, hoping for a Wildcat win that'll send Gamecocks to Atlanta.
I doubt that they will get that win, and also a problem with this game is it's on pay-per-view. So a lot of people are going to be forking out the $40+ and then inviting all their friends over. But the defense isn't going to have to worry about the passing game this week. This team only averages about 35 yards passing a game. They've got 350 all year. We had that against Kentucky. The running game is what bothers me. We had Chris Rainey who ran wild on us last week, and this team has 2 running backs over 600 yards, 4 that are over 300 yards. They spread it out. They know what they're doing. The quarterback is very athletic. He's able to throw the ball. Don't let his statistics deceive you. He can throw the ball. It's just they don't ask him to throw it a lot. So I am worried about the secondary, but I don't think it will cost us that much. I think we'll only have about 5 passing plays. Probably 2 of them will actually be completed. So I think the defense will be set for this week.
Now, on the offense, who's one player do you think is just going to step up this week for the Gamecocks?
For the Gamecocks, I think it's going to be Bruce Ellington. Hopefully they'll figure out a place to play him. They've been trying to figure that out all year. They've tried him in some wildcat formations, tried him at running back a couple plays. They've tried him at wide receiver. They just haven't figured out what place is right for him. maybe they just need to stick him and let him be strictly a returner. I don't know, but I'm hoping Steve Spurrier and the coaching staff will figure out what to do with him. And I think he'll have a pretty good game.
Yeah, I don't think the Gamecocks will have any problem scoring on that Citadel defense. Now, Hunter,
No.
prediction time. How bad do you think it's going to be?
Let's see. Well, we lost to them 38-35 in 1990, last time we played them. Won't be that close. I think we're not going to top 60. I think it'll probably be about 49-7. I think they'll squeak out a touchdown.
Yeah, I'm going for another touchdown. I would like to see Citadel score, more than once against us.
Well, you have a little personal connection there, don't you?
Yep, Julian Baxter on the secondary for that Citadel defense. I hope he does good. I hope Citadel does bad. I hope he does good, though.
Yeah.
And that does it for the Boardroom this week. We'll be back next week to break down the Citadel game and preview Clemson.
The Gamecock women's soccer team finished the regular season as SEC champs. To see if they could carry that success into the NCAA playoffs, let's send it to Hunter Banks.
Gamecocks hosting Texas in the first round of the NCAA College Cup at Stone Stadium. And here Kayla Grimsley gets the ball. She's going to feed it to Maria Petroni, who then feeds it to Lolly Holland, who goes far post with the slow dribbler. Defender can't do anything, putting the Gamecocks up 1-0 early, 7th minute of the game. Students out in full force at Stone Stadium. Here they are rocking out to a little sandstorm. And the game got a little dicey as both teams each committed 12 fouls. And here's one where Kylie Doniak is going to sling Andy Romness down to the ground. She would not get carded but was called for the foul. And here's another one as the cross comes in, and Texas's Kristen Cummins shows a little elbow. There you can see it to Sabrina DeAngelo's side. Again, no card, but the foul was called. And it looks like Lolly Holland scores her second goal of the night as she takes Elizabeth St. Clair cross, but she did not. She was called offside.
Whistle for offside.
And here Kristen Neary is going to cross it in to Taylor Leach, but Taylor heads it in directly into the waiting arms of Texas keeper Alexa Gall. Texas would have plenty of chances like this one as Frosting Pedersen heads the ball home, but doesn't. It's not quite on target, a little bit too far outside.
Carolina.
And speedy winger Vanessa Ibawicki, who shoots this one outside the reach of Sabrina DeAngelo, but also outside of the post. Gamecocks would end up winning 1-0.
Your final score, Carolina 1, Texas 0. Your Gamecocks improved to 16-6 on the season, while the Longhorns in their season at 11-9-1.
Hunter Banks, Capital City Sports.
Coming up after the break, the women's basketball team takes on Alabama A&M.
Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. The women's basketball team got off to a great season by defeating Limestone last week.
They hosted Alabama A&M this week. Let's send it to Ross Hanzopoulos to see how they did.
Opening up their first home game of the season on Monday, November 14th, your South Carolina Gamecocks took on the Alabama A&M Bulldogs in Colonial Life Arena. Coach Don Staley and the crew look to go 2-0 in their first home game of the season after a win on the road against Illinois. To open up the action, senior Markeisha Grant finds fellow senior Lakeisha Sutton 3 of 13 points she had on the night. Markeisha Grant continues to find open shooters as she finds Courtney Newton and give it to her. Grant finished with 6 assists on the night. Junior forward Ashley Brunner has been the story of the night for the Gamecocks, with her rebounding, putting her team into transition, finding other teammates, and overall providing a spark off the bench for Coach Stanley's squad. She gets the ball from Lakeisha Sutton and drives it in for a layup and one. She finished with 15 points of the night. Moving the ball into transition has been a key factor for the Gamecocks as Aisha Walker takes a hit but gets back up really quickly and getting the layup, 2 of her 13 points of the night plus the foul. Another key factor I would like to point out for the Gamecocks is defense. Senior Markeisha Grant's only block of the night denies anything easy for Alabama A&M. Markeisha Grant finds freshman Alicia Welch inside to close out the half with USC 30, Bama A&M 24. In the second half, Bama A&M tries to keep it close for the Bulldogs as Chandra Davis knocks down a 3 as she finished with 11 points for the Bulldogs. But with all the passing going on for the Lady Gamecocks and finding positions to score, Ashley Brunner shows an example as she powers one in to push the lead for the Lady Gamecocks. Like I said earlier, Ashley Brunner has been the highlight of the night for the Lady Gamecocks as she powers one in for a beautiful reverse layup there. Ashley Brunner had the ball fed to her all night, but instead of taking it in herself, she gets some insurance from Alicia Welch as she banks it in for USC. The Lady Gamecocks gave the Alabama A&M Bulldogs a rougher Monday for them with a final score of USC 60, Bama A&M 53. Ross Anzopoulos, Capital City Sports.
Thanks for tuning in this week. If you missed anything or just want to catch up on previous episodes, log on to our website at sgtv.sc.edu.
Or you can find us on Facebook at SGTV-Student Gamecock Television or on Twitter at CCS Staff.
You can also find us on YouTube at SGTV at USC. For Tani Murrell, I'm Josh Butler. Tune in next week.